The Sculptor by Scott McCloud is a graphic novel that follows David Smith, a sculptor who makes a deal with death. He is able to make anything he touches into whatever he wants, but only having 200 days to live. He makes the most of his time, but things get complicated when he falls in love with Meg, an aspiring actress. This graphic novel was amazing, due in no small part by its art. McCloud masterfully depicts New York in such a simple yet effective manner. David, Meg, and everyone else are depicted in this realistic yet cartoony art style. No two people look alike. The shading, texture, and line work are incredible. There were so many moments when I would stop reading and simply observe the art, the line work, everything. It's really good, especially the large, page-spanning views. The characters are okay. David, as the protagonist, is hard to like. He's gloomy, not great with people, and can be a real jerk to others. Death, which takes the form of his late Uncle Harry, is an interesting character. I find it interesting that David can just talk to him as he does. The ideas presented in the novel are interesting too. The idea in question of artistic legacy, the creative struggle, and sacrifice for one's work are all brought up, though I would have liked if the story explored that just a bit more. As an artist, these are all things I've asked myself and wondered. Questions like, will my art outlive me? Will I ever be a good artist? And so on. Though the relationship between David and Meg does feel a little awkward and rushed. Maybe a little forced if I'm being honest. Also, Meg, despite her struggles about not being labeled as an object in the story, isn't really a character. She feels underdeveloped and more like an object, ironically enough. Her depression feels like it comes out of nowhere, and while I understand that it coming out of nowhere can be reflective of people's real-world experiences, it really does feel like it comes out of nowhere. Her death at the end feels like a blatant example of fridging, and I even found myself asking, no way she just got fridged. Another gripe I have with the book is David. Like I said, he's hard to like for most of the story, which makes sense given his context. However, he is a very privileged character in a way that seems to disregard the experiences of other artists. The story takes place in New York City, and David as a character has a number of privileges that give him an advantage as an artist trying to make a name for himself. He spends a good portion of his time complaining about his art, about how some people don't understand what he's saying or the unfairness of his art not being chosen for exhibitions and so on. These are real concerns artists have, but with David, it comes off as whiny. And he has the resources to even have the time to worry about these sort of things when there are so many other artists in the story and in real world New York City who can't afford to worry about these things. Or worse, don't have time to make art because they're in positions where they're just trying to survive, working jobs and taking care of responsibilities. Does that make sense? If you disagree with me, that's fine, but you might know what I mean. All in all, a good read with an interesting premise held back by a flawed execution. If you're a fan of graphic novels or are an artist yourself, give it a try. I think you'll really like it. And that's it for me. Thanks for listening, take care, and have yourself a damn good one.